Hey guys, I thought I'd take a closer, more detailed look at Android 5.0 Lollipop. I did make a recent video on this, but that was literally about 2 minutes after it had finished installing, so it was only a very quick look. And to be honest, I was just way too excited to actually speak coherently, so hopefully this video will make up for that. And yeah, Google gave us an updated preview last Friday, and I've got to say, it's quite a lot better than the previous builds we had. It's more complete, there's more animations, it's a lot smoother, and it really gives us a good look at that new material design language, so yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. Now pretty much everything has been refreshed on Android Lollipop, including the initial setup screens. There's a lot more color, things are spaced out better, and to me it looks a lot more user friendly and cleaner than what we had before. It checks for software updates before you actually start using the phone, which is nice. There's a tap and go feature here which allows you to copy Google accounts, backed up apps and data from your previous phones to your new phone via NFC. We can take a quick look at the new keyboard here. It's all white, again very minimalistic and clean, and yes, finally Google has implemented the two-step verification into the initial setup. Now this next page is a really nice feature. Basically it allows you to restore from a previous device backup, which is seriously handy. I have backups here from my Nexus 5. You can see it tells you when they were taken, 2 days ago, today and 19 days ago. If we choose the 19 days ago one, it'll also give you the opportunity to restore the apps, and it shows you which apps you're going to choose as well. You can see I have something like 93 right there. You can choose to restore them all if you want, or you can just pick and choose which ones you want to have on this device. Then you've got your normal opt-in for Google services with tick boxes for each different section, and then of course you've got your opt-in for Google Now as well. Once you're done, it'll take you to your home screen and the restore begins. Now if you were using the Google Play launcher before, it will actually restore your homepage setup as well. So folders, wallpapers, all in the correct place. Apps that aren't currently installed are grayed out with a progress ring around them. When they start downloading, you can see the progress ring starts to complete, and then the icon will appear once it's finished installing. Now there are new animations all over the place in Android Lollipop, all the way from progress bars to little cogs spinning around when you pull out a side drawer. For me personally, I absolutely love them. They add a real polish to the OS, and of course they are all just buttery smooth as well. Even after a weekend of usage, I'm still finding new subtle animations that just make it feel more refined, and let's not forget this is still only a developer preview. In my opinion, this is something that Android has always been a little behind on. It's always had great functionality, but its overall feel and polish was always a little bit behind the others, but Android Lollipop with material design is definitely taking that problem head on. Now moving on to some features, if we press the volume rocker, it now brings up the volume at the top of the screen rather than the middle. You'll also notice we have options to disable notifications completely, including alarms. So you can choose to do that indefinitely or for a set period of time, or you can choose to only have priority notifications allowed. So this is essentially a do not disturb mode. There is also a settings button. If we go ahead and dive into that, right at the top we can actually choose to always interrupt, allow only priority interruptions, or don't interrupt at all. You can then select what's allowed, i.e. the events and reminders, calls or messages, and if you go ahead and turn on calls or messages, you can actually choose from anyone, starred contacts only, or just contacts only. And if we go right to the bottom, you can also see a section that says downtime, and this essentially allows you to turn on these settings automatically on certain days or during certain times of the day. Now if you're wondering how you can make a certain app's notifications a priority, you can do that as well. Let's take this push bullet notification here. If we tap and hold it, it'll actually tell you what app the notification is from and the time you received that. Just as an example, we can do that on the screenshot, and you can see it tells us it's from the system UI. But anyway, back to the push button notification, go ahead and press the information button, and here you have the options to block all notifications if you don't want them at all, or you can set them to priority, and if you do this it will be included when you set priority interruptions only. Tapping and holding some notifications, for example like Google Now, gives you a settings icon as well, so hopefully more developers will include that in their apps and you can actually go into the application settings directly from your notifications. And yes, you do also have a clear all button in your notification shade, so if you have a lot of notifications you don't want to go through individually, you can just tap that and it will dismiss them all. And if you're wondering, yes, the 2-finger down gesture does work. It brings you straight to your quick toggles as well. And again, just notice the subtle animation when I click the car screen. It's just a little thing, but it just adds that little polish to the OS and it just feels good to use. It just does. Taking a look at the lock screen, obviously we have those notifications, but if you swipe to the right it will unlock straight to the dialer, to the left opens up the camera, and directly up will unlock to your home screens. Now the notifications right now are completely viewable. You can see all their content, you can expand them, you can use all the actionable keys like sharing and all that good stuff. But if that's something you don't want to do, you can actually turn these off. So for example, go to sound and notification in the menu, and you can see when device is locked, you can actually go ahead and don't show anything. So if you do that, you won't have lock screen notifications. So if you don't like them, you can turn them off. Alternatively, if you actually set a secure lock screen, even for example a pin or a pattern, it does give you the option to hide sensitive notification content. So if we actually set this right now, if you remember before, I did have a notification from Pushbullet that said sensitive information or something like that. You can see now it says contents hidden, so you don't have to have all your information displayed on these notifications if you don't want to. If you try to expand them, it will go ahead and ask you for your pattern or pin or whatever you've set. Smart Lock is a new feature that allows you to set trusted devices or even a trusted face, so that if you're connected to your Pebble smartwatch or your car's Bluetooth, it would automatically disable the key guard so you don't have to put in your passcode. Now, I'm going to actually try this with the trusted face option right now, so I'm going to go ahead and set this up and we'll come back in a second. So right now the phone's pointed at the camera. If I try and unlock, you can see it brings up the pattern lock. Now if we go ahead and try this again, but this time I'll lean over so the camera can actually see my face, we'll try and unlock and you'll see there is no pattern code, so it recognized my face automatically and disabled the key guard. Again, if I try and unlock my device without leaning over, the secure lock screen will be active again. We also have something called screen pinning, and this allows you to lock the device to one screen or one application, so people can't mess with other apps. And to use it, you have to toggle the switch, then go ahead and open an app that you want to keep it on, for example, I don't know, Android Central, touch the recents key, and you'll see next to the application on the bottom right, you'll see a pin. If you go ahead and tap that, you'll get a prompt to press start, and it also tells you how to exit the screen pinning. But that's it, you can now no longer access the notifications, or you can't back out of the app or press the home button to get back to your home screen. Although when you do that, it does actually tell you how to unpin it, so that isn't really going to stop your friends from Facebook raping you. We also now have multiple user support on phones, so if we tap into the user section, you can see my profile at the top. There's also a guest profile, and you can create another one. Tapping into the settings, you can stop profiles from actually using phone calls if you don't want them to do that. If we tap into the guest account here, you'll see it says switching to guest. And there we go, we can continue from where we left off, and you can see basically it's like a new device. It doesn't have any of my home screens, it doesn't have any of my apps installed either, so they can't access any of that information at all. If we pull down the quick toggles, you can also quickly access the users from the top right hand corner. You can see the guest account we're currently in and my account. We can switch straight back to that, and it'll actually bring you back to exactly where you left it as well. So if you're wondering about the actual stability of this developer preview and whether it can be a daily driver, I've had no problems with the ROM itself, but that doesn't mean all the apps are going to be compatible. MX Player, you can see, isn't compatible, and nor is Dice Player either. I've had a few apps that aren't compatible like that. It seems to be a lot of the video players, so obviously something has changed under the hood with Android Lollipop that doesn't let them work, but you can see they just don't want to work. So if you use MX Player or Dice Player a lot, you might want to hold off until they get support, but basically everything else I've had absolutely no issues with. So it is a very stable ROM. I do think you can use it as a daily driver. Somebody asked me if all the applications had the dynamic status bar. That is a no. Basically, you can see it's not every application that automatically gets it. It has to actually be coded into the application itself. A lot of the Google apps do have that colored status bar. You can see the dialer does, so does Google+, but it isn't applied automatically for all apps. In terms of the battery life, honestly guys, I still don't really know. I was going to test it over the weekend, but I had a bit of a strange weekend. I was on a lot of trains, a lot of no signal areas, so it wasn't exactly normal usage. So still not sure on that one. I'll have to keep an eye on it. Yeah, there you go guys. That's a more detailed view of Android 5.0 Lollipop on the Nexus 5. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.